Pray for him. I want to read this. This came from Mom just a second ago. And she said that when Brian was singing, she put the phone up to his ear. And she said that tears were rolling down his face. He heard the music. And he hears what we say. As Dad said, I want to echo, and I'll turn it back to him in a second. As a family, our lives have been devoted to the work of God. And we need all of you to join us to pray and to seek God on our behalf. Because as Dad said just a second ago, we serve a big God. And we believe that God is able to do a miracle here tonight. And that's what we're asking for right now.
What's going on, Anointed One? We bring you some breaking news that's sending shockwaves through the evangelical community. On Sunday, June 15th, 90-year-old televangelist Jimmy Swaggart suffered cardiac arrest at his Baton Rouge home and remains hospitalized in intensive care. And folks, according to his own son, the situation is dire. Donnie Swaggart told his congregation that his father went into cardiac arrest around 8 a.m. Sunday and never regained consciousness. In what must have been an incredibly emotional evening service, Donnie delivered the devastating news to their family worship center congregation, saying, and I quote, "Without a miracle, his time will be short."
Sun Life Broadcasting Network, an update. You know, we are a very private family. We've always been very private. We keep our troubles to ourselves. We don't bring other people into it. We've always braved the storms as a family internally. But this is beyond that. And I will be very open and transparent in the days to come so that everybody will know exactly what is going on. This morning at a little after 8, Gabe and I rushed into Mother's house. His dad had gone into cardiac arrest. He never regained consciousness. We both took turns giving him chest compressions until EMT could get there, and I've never seen so many people arrive at one time, and I want to thank them. But they were able to get a heartbeat back. Right now, he is in ICU, and without a miracle, his time will be short. But we believe God. We're not giving up. We've already told the doctors we don't want to hear anything from them. We will make decisions in our own time. But we're going to give the Lord an opportunity to work.
Think about that for a moment. This is a son having to tell his father's congregation that, barring divine intervention, they may be saying goodbye to one of the most recognizable faces in televangelism. The family has apparently told doctors they don't want medical opinions. They're placing their faith entirely in prayer and what they believe God will do. Now, to understand the magnitude of this moment, you have to understand who Jimmy Swaggart is. This isn't just any preacher lying in that ICU bed. In the 1970s and 80s, Swaggart was a titan, arguably one of the biggest names in evangelical Christianity worldwide. The Jimmy Swaggart telecast reached an estimated 100 million viewers globally. Think about those numbers for a second. This was before the internet, before social media, before our hyper-connected world. Swaggart was packing stadiums, selling millions of gospel records, and his ministry was pulling in massive donations from believers around the world. But then came February 1988, a date that changed everything. Photographs surfaced of Swaggart at a New Orleans motel with a prostitute named Deborah Murphy. The scandal exploded across headlines everywhere. What followed was one of the most infamous moments in televangelist history, Swaggart's tearful confession on February 21st, 1988, where he acknowledged unspecified moral failings.
I have sinned against you, my Lord. And I would ask that your precious blood would wash and cleanse every stain until it is in the seas of God's forgetfulness. Thank you. Thank you. And God bless you.
The Assemblies of God imposed discipline, but when Swaggart rejected their additional measures, they revoked his ministerial credentials entirely. You'd think that would be rock bottom, but it wasn't. 3 years later, in 1991, Swaggart was stopped by police in California with another prostitute in his car. This time, his response was defiant. Rather than another tearful apology, he essentially told his critics that God told him to keep preaching and, this is a direct quote, "The Lord told me it's flat none of your business." Here's what's remarkable, though. Despite losing his mainstream platform, despite the scandals, despite being written off by many, Swaggart never stopped. His core congregation largely stood by him. The Family Worship Center continued operating. His wife Frances hosts Frances and Friends on their Sun Life broadcasting network. Swaggart himself continued hosting The Message of the Cross with his son Donnie. So here we are today, with news that may mark the end of one of the most complex figures in modern evangelical history. Love him or hate him, you can't deny Swaggart's impact. He pioneered global televangelism, influenced countless people's faith journeys, and yes, he also became a cautionary tale about power, temptation, and the very human failings of those who claim to speak for God. This moment raises bigger questions that extend beyond Swaggart himself. What do we make of flawed messengers delivering what they claim is a perfect message? How do we reconcile the genuine faith of millions who were touched by Swaggart's ministry with the very real scandals that tarnished it? For his supporters gathering in prayer vigils tonight, he's a man of God who made mistakes but continued serving despite persecution. For his critics, he represents everything wrong with celebrity Christianity and the dangers of unchecked religious authority. As Jimmy Swaggart lies in that ICU bed, fighting for his life at 90 years old, both his supporters and detractors would probably agree on this. His story, the triumphs and the failures, the massive crowds and the devastating scandals, the tears of repentance and the defiant comebacks, tells us something profound about human nature, about faith, about forgiveness, and about the complex relationship between the two. Whether you see him as a fallen angel or a redeemed sinner, tonight the evangelical world is holding its breath, waiting to see if the man who once commanded global audiences will get his final miracle. We'll continue monitoring this developing story. Please share a prayer for him in the comments. As always, stay informed, stay critical, and we'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe if this kind of breaking news analysis is valuable to you, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our coverage as this story develops.